Well, is this the bitter end? I mean, the end of a bitter rivalry, she said, of trash talking between the two companies. Remember, in a Twitter exchange back in 2015, Sprint's Clore tweeted, quote, to John Ledger, "I am so tired of your uncarrier BS. When you are worse than the other two carriers together, your cheap, misleading," well, it goes on. Anyway, then T-Mobile's Ledger tweeted, "I'm surprised anybody likes anything about you at Sprint."
The feud continued onto television here on Squawk on the Street, John Legere a couple of years ago.
Marcelo needs to wake up and realize that the mother of all customer loads is sitting in Verizon and AT&T. 77% of my customer ads come from those two. And I think he should focus on fixing his company and, just copy paste everything I do and you'll be fine.
Let's talk more about the deal. Joining us now, Adonis Hoffman, former Chief of Staff and Senior Legal Advisor at the FCC. Also with us, Nick Economides, Professor at NYU Stern School of Business. Gentlemen, good afternoon to you both. Adonis, I'll start with you, if I may, to begin with. Do you believe ultimately this deal will lead to lower prices for the consumers over the long term?
Well, this deal comes at a very interesting time. First of all, it comes at a time when the Trump doctrine on antitrust and sort of merger enforcement is evolving. Secondly, it comes at a time when the market, the wireless market, has matured and is robust enough to sustain three very big providers. And then third, I think it comes at a time when the FCC has laid down a marker that it's open to these kinds of combinations. And so while there's some regulatory hurdles to be overcome, I think it's the right time. And it has, as you point out, it's been a long time coming.
Nick, do you agree with that? Because the market right now has Sprint shares down 6.5%. I'm sorry, T-Mobile shares down 6.5%, Sprint shares down 14%. And there seems to be some expectation this deal doesn't get done. What do you think?
I think the market got it right. The deal is unlikely to be done. The deal is very likely to increase prices for all consumers. And it's very likely that the Department of Justice is going to try to intervene and stop the deal. It's very hard to go from 4 companies to 3 companies without prices increasing.
Adonis, what's your view in terms of this relatively nationalistic argument that we've heard that other countries like China are surging ahead in terms of the quality of their 5G technology, and that unless there are economies of scale here, that the US will be left behind? Is that a fair argument to make? And does it matter that these companies have foreign ownership themselves?
Well, it's certainly a factor with respect to the technology. But keep in mind that both Sprint and T-Mobile have been really the drivers of innovation in the wireless market. They're the ones who introduced the free data plans. They've been on the cutting edge in terms of how they actually accumulate customers. And so I don't expect the innovation to stop with the post-merge company. In fact, I would expect it to accelerate. And I want to take issue with the notion that prices will go up. I think that T-Mobile and Sprint combined would provide such an aggressive force in the market that they're really going to go after the AT&T and Verizon market with a vengeance. And so I know that typically in a horizontal merger, prices are expected to rise. But in this instance, I think this would be one case where we might see that axiom proven to be wrong. I think we're looking at the possibility of having prices actually go down because of their innovative and very aggressive marketing and advertising and business practices and structure.
Nick, final word on that in response?
Well, I think that what has happened in the last few years, since 2014, when the previous combination between T-Mobile and Sprint was rejected, what has happened was that T-Mobile has very aggressively cut the price. And that's where we are right now. And we have seen also cuts of prices by AT&T and Verizon. If we merge, if we allow the merger to go through, then prices are going to be increased, not only for the reasons I mentioned before, going from 4 to 3, but also because we are going to eliminate a maverick, which is T-Mobile, from having the incentives to be so aggressive in terms of cutting price. It will have different incentives once it's.
Their incentive won't be now we're coming after numbers 1 and 2, and John Ledger is the good person in charge of that company.
I think the nature of competition among three almost equal providers, which would be after the merger, is quite different than what we have right now. Right now, you get T-Mobile to be very aggressive. I think that will not go through.
We'll see. I want to know
keep
if it
in
keeps
mind
the
that
pink.
that initial that combination was never rejected. It was never put forth. So the
well, it was never put forward because it would have been rejected.
Well, because at that point there was a policy under the Obama administration that 4 carriers was sort of the law of the land, and that was really quite hypothetical. There's nothing to suggest that 4 is a magic number as opposed to 3. So, you know, when we were at the commission considering those things, 4 seemed to be just in place because the FCC didn't have the bandwidth to deal with it. And now we have a whole different regime in place, and I think that we'll probably see a different outcome.
All right.
Gents, thank you very much. We will leave it there.
Great discussion.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.